All right, thank you for joining me today. I'm going to be talking to you about unit rate. First thing about unit rate that you'll need to know, of course, is what rate is, which is simply a ratio that compares two quantities with different units of measure. And then a unit rate, simply a ratio of two measurements in which the second term is 1, such as miles per gallon, miles per hour, or price per item, which you should be familiar with. So let's take a look at a couple of examples here. First one would be rate of speed. Coach Pryor drove 350 miles in 6 hours. What was his average rate of speed? As you can see at the bottom, you simply will use division to solve for the unit rate. What you will typically do is always put any unit of time in the denominator or at the bottom of the fraction. So you're looking at the mileage, 350 on top and 6 on the bottom. So now you would need to divide. So it's always the denominator divided into the numerator, just like so. So that is your setup. So let's take a look now at what that division would look like. 6 divided into 350. And we simply look first at what 6 can go into, and that would be 35. 6 goes into 35. How many times? That would be 5 times. Then you multiply 5 times 6, which will give you 30. Then, of course, we subtract at that point, which gives us 5 left over, and we go ahead and bring down our 0. We'll go ahead and divide 6 into 50. 6 goes into 50 how many times? That's going to be 8 times, because 6 times 8 is 48. So you can see now we're going to be left with a remainder of 2. All right, now the remainder of 2, depending on the problem, you can continue to divide, or if they ask you to round, you can always round, or you can leave it a remainder. So it'd be 58 remainder 2. Or, as I said, you can add a decimal and continue to divide. Excuse me, that's a 0 there. We'll drop down a 0, and 6 goes into 20 how many times? That would be sure to add your decimal in the solution, 3 times. And at that point, you can round off your answer, if need be, to the nearest whole number or the nearest tenths. 58.3 would be his approximate rate of speed. All right. We're going to look at another example here, very similar, which is words per minute. And you can see that these examples all have some type of time in them. Many of them will do that. And as I said before, that time element is always going to go in the denominator. So you're looking at the number of words here, 132 words in 4 minutes. So 132 goes in the numerator, and 4 goes in the denominator if we're writing it in fraction form. Then we can take that and modify it into our division problem, which would be 4 on the outside and 132 on the inside. So those are your two setups that you'll see. So let's go ahead and look at the division of that now, which would be 4 into 132. So again, 4 goes into 13 would be your first option there. And of course, it's going to go in 3 times. 4 times 3 is 12. Do your subtraction there, and you're left with 1. Drop down your 2. And then you have to go ahead and divide again. 4 goes into 12 how many times? 3 times. And you can see this one works out nicely for us to show that Olivia can type 33 words per minute. All right, and your teacher may want you to write that out in words per minute. All right. Next slide. One of the bigger topics that you're going to see here is going to be determining what the better deal is. And this is actually a really good lesson to learn, because when you walk into a store, you can use this concept. So if you're looking at 80 cents for 2 pencils or $1.85 for 5 pencils, you want to know where you're saving the most money. You're going to use the same type of math here. You're going to use division. The money portion of these problems, which would be 80 cents and $1.85, will both go in the numerator, and the total number of whatever it is you're buying goes in the denominator, in this case pencils. And you will use division again. That is your setup as far as the fraction would be concerned. So we're going to work these two one problem at a time. We'll divide 2 into 80, and then we will divide 5 into $1.85. Okay, so let's look at first 2 divided into 80 cents. So divide 2 into 80 cents. What you have to remember to do is move your decimal straight up. Wherever it lies underneath the division sign needs to go directly above that part of the problem. And then you will divide 2 into 80. In this case, you can either divide 2 into 80 and know that it's 40, but if you're not sure, again, you can always divide 2 into 8 and use the same division tactics that you're used to using here, which would be subtracting, bring down your 0, and 2 doesn't go into 0, so you can see that our first amount is 40 cents. So it's going to cost 40 cents. The second problem will be 5 into $1.85. This time you probably can't do that in your head, so you're going to have to go ahead and divide it out. 5 into 18. Don't forget to move your decimal straight up. 5 can't go into 1, but it can go into 18. So we're going to divide 5 into 18, which is 3. Do that multiplication, which gives us 15. Go ahead and subtract there, and you see that you get a 3. You bring down your 5. So that's going to now require you to divide 5 into 35, which is going to give you 7. Now you can see, after you multiply, that works out nice and even for us. We get a remainder of 0, and we can compare the two amounts. We're comparing 40 cents to 37 cents. And what you have to be careful of here is making sure you choose the correct one, because a lot of times we tend to move towards the greater amount, but in this case the better deal is going to be the one that you're paying the least for. So in this case 37 cents would be your better choice, which means in the end the better deal here was $1.85 for 5 pencils. Alright, let's go ahead and take a look at another example of what a better deal would be in a unit rate problem. Here we see that we're dealing with oranges. Buying oranges, $1.56 for 4 oranges, or $4.32 for 10 oranges. So your strategy here is going to be to find out which one you're paying the least for. So your initial setup in fraction form would be $1.56 over 4. You always want to put the money over the total number purchased. Your other setup would be $4.32 over 10, and we're going to use division. So in this case, again, we're going to divide 4 into $1.56 and 10 into $4.32, and we'll do that one at a time. So let's take a look here. Your initial problem here would be 4 into $1.56. Go ahead and move that decimal straight up from underneath to the top, which will be a part of your solution, and divide. 4 goes into 15. That is going to be 3 times. 3 times 4 gives you 12. And we'll go ahead and do our subtraction there, which gives us 3 left over, so we'll have to bring down our 6 and continue our division. 4 goes into 36 9 times. So we can see 9 times 4 being 36, that this is going to work out quite nicely for us to show us that 4 oranges will be 39 cents a piece at the rate of $1.56 when we buy 4 of them at $1.56. So 39 cents there, and I'll write that off to the corner here to remind me. And we'll go ahead and look at our other example, which was 10 oranges for $4.32. Move that decimal straight up and prepare to divide. 10 goes into 43. That's going to be 4 times. 4 times 10 is 40, which leaves you with 3 left over. Go ahead and bring down that 2. We have a little bit of an issue here because 10 doesn't go in evenly, but we'll handle that in a moment. 10 goes into 32, though, 3 times. This time, however, we're going to see that it doesn't necessarily work out to where it'll come out evenly. In that case, what you will do is go ahead and add a 0 to the end of what you're dividing into, bring down that 0, and divide one more time. 10 goes into 20 2 times, and you can see that because we end up with a 2 here, that we can go ahead and continue or just keep it at 43 cents. If that had happened to be a 5 or higher, then we would have rounded it up to 44 cents. In this case, we're comparing 39 cents per orange to 43 cents per orange. And you can see again that we want to go with the lower amount here. So 39 cents is going to be our choice. So your better deal in this case would be the first deal, which is $1.56 for 4 oranges. And that is unit rate. Thank you very much.